Hello, guys. So, in part one, we mainly talked about foreign policy. That was our main talking point. We talked about wars, we talked about trade, but it boils down to our current foreign policy under the Articles of Confederation. And the answer is we didn't have foreign policy, did we? So, today we are moving on to land ordinances in the Old Northwest. So, let's begin to write this down. Throughout the Revolutionary War era, America did not have an effective centralized government to address a growing financial crisis. The British Navigation Acts once benefited the colonists, but now that they were a new country, the Navigation Acts restricted trade with the West Indies and other British ports. Manufacturing had been stimulated by pre-war non-importation agreements and by the war itself, and now there were nothing sustaining America's manufacturing industry. Individual states were levying duties on goods from their neighboring states, causing financial strife. In addition, several states were again printing deceptive paper currency. America experienced a severe economic contraction between 1770 and 1790. Key revolutionary figures suggested assisting the individual states with war funding to relieve the economic depression. Okay. George Washington proposed a national taxation system as a possible remedy for the struggling state governments, but the Continental Congress did not adopt his recommendation. At the conclusion of the war, economic troubles persisted and a depression continued through 1786. So, let's call this the home front because that's what it's called in normal when we get to wars and stuff. So, domestically, the home front, domestic, there was a huge depression. And this depression was a lack of resources. So that was the big issue, and we had no federal government, no feds to fix this issue. The economic downturn affected all classes. Farmers who sold primarily to local markets found themselves facing depressed crop prices and mounting debts and struggled to maintain their livelihoods. Commercial agriculture, which was more dependent on trade with foreign markets, also suffered a severe downturn. The once thriving commerce in tobacco, wheat, timber, and indigo declined greatly as European powers barred American exports to the West Indies and other European ports. The end of the war brought problems for merchants as well. Businesses that supplied armies on both sides during the war could no longer participate in the British mercantile system and were forced to sell their goods at home. Although the state's tariff policy that gave preference to American goods, the tariff rate was inconsistent among the states. The British ships would land and sell their goods in the states with the lowest duties and at prices that local merchants could not meet. So this was a bad tariff policy. So we have a bad tariff policy. Who is that affecting? Farmers. The farming community was largely affected by this bad tariff policy. Then it continues. Okay, and then the land. So there was cheap land as well because we want people to come and set up America, right? So we have the land ordinance of 1785 and the Northwest Ordinance the Land Ordinance and the Northwest Ordinance validated property rights in America. So it validated secured property rights for America. So the part 3 of this video is the most interesting part of this whole lesson. It's the Shays Rebellion. And Shays Rebellion, if you watch the next video, it puts a fire on the butts of Americans to make a new governmental system. So see you guys in part 3 of this video.